app now.
On the show today, India's most affordable EV, side hustle culture and moonlighting. Is there a connection? All that and a lot more on this action-packed episode of Tech Today. It's a big day for EVs in India. We keep talking about India's developing EV ecosystem, and that's why we have the newest kid on the block, the Tata Tiago EV. And it's not just any other EV. It happens to be India's most affordable four-wheeler EV at 8.5 lakhs ex-showroom, under 10 lakhs for an EV. Is the EV dream becoming a reality? That's what we're going to find out on Tech Today. Tiago EV comes in two battery options. One gives you a range of nearly 250 kilometers and the other one gives you a range of 315 kilometers. These are two lithium-ion battery pack options, 19.2 kilowatt hours and 24 kilowatt hours with IP67 rating for dust and water resistance on the battery, and both of them have a warranty of 8 years or 1,60,000 kilometers. And with this battery pack, 0 to 60 kilometers per hour in India's most affordable EV in under 6 seconds. That's what they're claiming. But when we have this Count Tech Today, we will give you a comprehensive review. Well, of course, that's what India's most affordable EV looks like under the hood, and we told you about the battery packs, but what's it like on the inside? That's what we want to show you on the electric experience. Well, ingress, all right. Entering the car is quite an easy task, even for someone who's around 6 feet tall. This leatherette steering wheel is a nice addition, and this is nearly 3 lakh rupees more expensive than the internal combustion engine Tiago. So obviously you have a few different features. This is electric, and we will be driving it and telling you what the drive experience is like. You have hill start and descent assist, TPMS, automatic climate control, rain sensing wipers, automatic headlamps, push button start and stop right over here, cruise control as well, and then it gets multi-mode regen. This we saw in the Nexon EV Max, 4 levels, and it's there in India's most affordable Tiago EV. Obviously, this touchscreen infotainment system comes with the Z Connect app with over 45 connected features. While you're using this, of course, this is not a Tesla, something like that, but I think it does the job. It's got a fairly decent system. You press home, it's responsive enough. You want to pair with another device, and that works as well. So it's kind of cool that we're getting so many features at this price point. Being India's most affordable electric vehicle in the four-wheeler space, we're hoping this is a disruptor and can build on the EV ecosystem in India. But there are a bunch of questions every time we have an EV on the show on electric experience. They're to do with range anxiety, battery optimization. How will these batteries perform in conditions like India? What is the regen like when you're taking it uphill? What is it like when you're braking? What's it like? And most importantly, how can you pack such a punch at this price point? Now, I don't have all the answers, but we need an expert from Tata Motors to talk us and walk us through all of this. So here we go. The Tiago EV, India's most affordable EV on Tech Today. And along with that, we have a very special guest, Mr. Anand Kulkarni of Tata Motors. Thanks so much for joining us on the show.
Thank you.
I want to start by asking you about the Tiago EV and the way you all have divided it into two different battery pack options. Now, being India's most affordable EV right now, that's kind of interesting, but how did you all at Tata Motors discern between the two different battery packs and different charging options?
So, we have two battery packs, that's right. So one is a 19.2, the second one is a 24 kilowatt hour. And what it essentially gives is the ability for customers to make a choice. And we've done this very smartly because there's a way in which the battery packs can be configured to give these kind of options. It's important to understand why we are trying to do this, because, for example, even the small battery pack would give you a range of 250 kilometers on the certified cycle, and the real life would be roughly around 170 kilometers, which, by the way, is good enough for a week-long drive in the city in normal conditions. Now, therefore, you have this option for somebody whose usage is going to be primarily in the city, short drives, and you have a week-long range available with that. But then you could also have somebody who is wanting to mix his drives with an occasional intercity drive, and the long-range battery can come into action when that is the case. So giving this choice to people for them to decide what is the best option for them is something that is really what we call democratizing the EV options, and that's what we've tried to do with the Tiago.
Mr. Kulkarni, since we're talking about EVs, I have to address the proverbial elephant in the room, which happens to be range anxiety. When the team at Tata Motors is coming up with the Tiago EV and the Nexon EV and this big EV lineup, now including India's most affordable EV, how do you guys address range anxiety for EVs in India?
So it's not really the proverbial elephant in the room. This is something that we work very actively on, and range anxiety or alleviation of range anxiety is an important part to us. So there are specific steps that you do in order to make sure that range anxiety does not happen. To be honest, the kind of anxiety that was there when the Nexon EV was being made, to the point that now people are familiar with the product, they understand what it is, and the infrastructure has grown. Also, given the fact that 95% of the people home charge, 5% people are using it on highways, you have a situation where people are now becoming more comfortable, more aware about how cars need to be used, and range anxiety is still a factor. I cannot deny that, but it's not a factor as acute as it would have been maybe just about 3 years back. So today, when we look at how do we sort of take care of this particular factor, we are looking at efficiency improvements, we are looking at optimizations, we are looking at making sure that we give a graded performance to people, so that as the battery capacity starts to drop when the battery is discharging, you give customers cautions or warnings or audible signals to say that you are getting into lower battery capacity remaining, and therefore you need this option, or you need to stop somewhere and get yourself charged. Having said that, it's also important to understand that we give as many options as possible to people so that they can get their car charged. Yeah. On the Tiago, as with the Ziptron platform, we give 4 options. The first one is that provided you have proper earth connections made, you could plug it into any 15 amp socket and the car will charge itself, although at a slower rate. Then we give a charger along with the car. This is a 3.3 kilowatt charger, and with that the car can charge in roughly around 6.5-7 hours.
Which comes along with the base variant as well.
Which comes along with every car that we sell, including the base variant. And then we have an option where customers can buy a 7.2 kilowatt charger, and this is for heavy users, let's say, who want to use their cars more often, and therefore they drive more kilometers, and therefore they would need faster charging. This can charge the car in 3.5 hours. And then you also have the option of DC fast charge. Correct. Where it can charge under an hour. DC fast charge, I would say, is primarily for highways.
Correct.
The other 3 options primarily for cities, and within this we are able to take care of all requirements.
What a pleasure chatting with you on Tech Today.
It's been great.
Thank you. Thanks so much for watching.
If you're into EVs, then I'm guessing you're already familiar with concepts like the passion economy and side hustle culture. Is moonlighting something that's been in the news a lot of late? And of course, we've covered it extensively on Business Today TV and at the Business Today India at 100 conclave as well. Is that part of a larger phenomenon called side hustle culture? What is this side hustle all about? Why have so many millennials and Gen Z popularized it on social media? Akanksha brings you this special report.
If you log into social media, everybody has been talking about the passion economy and the side hustle culture. That's just how the Gen Z and the millennials have been wired, especially after the pandemic. But why has this side hustle gig economy culture gotten so much rage? And how are the Gen Z and the millennials taking out time for this? Come, let's find out. Do you do any freelancing work or side gigs apart from your day job?
Well, I am a writer, so I do write articles, I do write my poems, I do write stuff. I still have a life ahead, right? I have to pursue my hobbies. So I'm just putting my hobbies to a monetary fund, monetizing them, that's it.
Okay. Here we have a side hustler who also has a day job and who writes as a freelance writer apart from his day job.
Yeah, I like to photograph.
Okay, you like to photograph.
I'm looking for internship for Saturday, Sunday.
One of my friend is a singer, but he's also working with KPMG. So he works with KPMG 9 to 5, but on the weekends or maybe in the night he performs somewhere. So that totally depends. Like if you are an artist or something, you work, like you can work.
She's Veera, she's a lawyer by the day and an artist by the night. So Veera, tell us, how do you manage both these gigs?
So I worked more on my art during the pandemic. I could really use Instagram as a platform. I think the algorithm was also better back then, so I could use Instagram as a platform to promote my art. There were a lot of initiatives that came up, which were basically hashtag-led initiatives. I could work on it a lot then. I also wasn't working full-time as a lawyer then. I don't know if I managed to do it as a side gig, but I do try and do it personally. As a side hustle is definitely difficult when you are in a profession like the law, because I think being an artist also requires a lot of that social networking, which is time consuming. And while at one point I did think that I could manage full-time law work with also a successful side hustle as an artist, I definitely think it's difficult.
So we have Gunjan here and she has some very interesting takes because she herself is a freelancer. So what do you think, Gunjan? Should freelancing apart from one's day job be allowed?
Yeah, why not?
How do you freelance?
I'm a makeup artist, so what I do is I go for the work. I have a studio too in Gurgaon. We order on the Blinkit, everything is online nowadays. So everybody wants that comfort to get the things at home.
Okay.
So there's nothing wrong in it. Even I like that. So I go to their places and do the service.
So Shweta, do you think it should be okay for
freelance?
To freelance, yeah.
Yeah, definitely it will be okay. You get more opportunities and more income. And if you are in a field like I'm a data engineer, data analyst, so you will get more challenges to work upon. If so, you can enhance your career more into it.
Art, photography, fashion designing, live singing. These are just some of the passion projects young India is following. This is a space Tech Today and Business Today will be closely tracking. Over to you, Ayush.
Well, those were some fascinating insights from that ground report, but this is only the first half of the show. If you liked EVs and all about the passion economy and side hustle culture, the second half of the show is all for audiophiles and also what's happening in the gaming world. Stay tuned, don't miss the second half of the show.
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com. Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Everyone's busy finding what's trending. You're busy finding out why. India Today, for those who research before reacting. Download the India Today app now.
Welcome back to Tech Today. I'm your host Ayush Alavadi. You've seen EVs. We've spoken about a side hustle culture with all millennials and Gen Z. And now we want to don an audiophile's hat and show you the Google Pixel Buds Pro. But we've unboxed them before, so let's get them out of the box. There you go, the Google Pixel Buds Pro. I'd imagine that you could compare them with the AirPods Pro, which we've also been using for a while, but there's a new AirPods Pro on the market. So we will reserve that verdict in the coming days on the Business Today pages, so stay tuned. For now, we have a few observations about the Google Pixel Buds Pro, so here goes. So there's a bunch of things that we can talk about. Of course, it is the active noise cancellation, it's the design, the ease of use, and what's the sound like most importantly. Well, let's start with the sound. The sound on these earbuds is quite good, honestly. The minute you put them in, they fit perfectly fine, and the sound is punchy. If you're listening to music, they do a fantastic job with all sorts of songs, but most importantly, when you take a call and you've paired them up with your Android device, because they're not the best alternative if you're using them with an iPhone, although I have used them with Apple devices, but they will really come in their own if you're using them with an Android device. The minute you put them in, the sound is fantastic. And then of course the noise cancellation, these buttons, you can just tap it over here and I can barely hear you guys. So while the sound is amazing on these earbuds, and I really think that they can match up in every way when it comes to sound quality and noise cancellation to the AirPods Pro, at least the original version, like I said, but there is a small chink in its armor, and I think that is design. While the design of the earbuds, when they're in your ears, fantastic, they're not the best to use when you're putting them in your pocket. Look, this is a lot more pocketable. When you're talking about the Pixel Buds Pro, it's a weird shape like this. It's an egg shape, literally looks like an egg. And it's sort of slippery with this matte finish. While it looks great, it looks premium, it's a little slippery when you're using it. Often, it has slipped out of my pocket from my jeans, fallen on the floor, and that's not the best experience. Another thing which is really cool about the Google Pixel Buds Pro is multi-point connectivity. That means you could connect this with a couple of devices at the same time, and that can be very helpful. Supposing you're on a Zoom call here and you want to wrap this up and listen to your favorite music on another device very soon, that works really well. Our verdict in a nutshell, they're called the Google Pixel Buds Pro for a reason, made by Google with all these flagship features. Barely anything that we can point out as flaws, so it comes with pro pricing. Now, if it was much cheaper, it would be an easy recommendation, but this is in the same league as products from Sennheiser and Sony and other flagship brands, and of course, the Apple AirPods Pro. But the good thing is, this works in the Apple ecosystem, and this works in the Google ecosystem. And we can safely say, after reviewing both these devices, which we'll continue to do with the new version of the AirPods, that the Google Pixel Buds Pro are nothing short of a competent, formidable answer to Apple's AirPods Pro. We've covered the online gaming space on the show before, but given what the Tamil Nadu government has planned to do with online gaming with stakes, we thought it's important to give you a lowdown on the gaming sector in India. A few months ago, when we were covering it on the show, it was all about the Karnataka government. Now, it's a bunch of states, especially in the south of India, who have a particular approach to online gaming. What's up with the gaming space in India? Here's a Business Today TV special report.
This was the meeting of the Tamil Nadu cabinet chaired by Chief Minister M.K. Stalin, which has brought the hammer down on the online gaming industry in the state. The cabinet took the ordinance route after the Madras High Court last August overturned the state government's November 2020 ban on online games involving transfer of money. The state government has appealed the High Court's order in the Supreme Court, which has now issued notices to all concerned parties. The matter is expected to be heard in the next couple of months. Tamil Nadu is just one of those states which is rallying against online games involving stakes. The other southern states of Kerala, Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh and Telangana have passed similar legislation, some of which have been shot down by the High Courts of Karnataka and Kerala. According to these states, while games may require some skills, the use of money makes them nothing short of gambling. Overall, according to a report, real money gaming comprised nearly 70% of the 10,100 crore rupee gaming industry in the country last year alone. While fantasy sports saw a revenue increase of 26%, money spent on rummy rose to 28%. The games are especially popular in southern states. Let's listen in to this conversation our technology editor Ayush Alavadi had with the founder CEO of Games 24/7 just some time ago.
When it comes to state level policy making, I would say the best way to describe it is some sort of confusion, and also a lack of recognition, I think, in some sense of how huge the space can be. Today, we are a $2 billion market. By any meaningful estimate, we're talking $25 to $30 billion by 2030. Today, the industry employs about 50,000 people. That could well be 1 million people by 2030.
Meanwhile, the general mood across the nation seems to be against these online games involving money. 66% of those polled by Business Today TV thought the Tamil Nadu government was right in banning these games. The central government is also taking a similar view and is now working towards regulating and further taxing the online gaming industry. There is a possibility of GST levied on these games being hiked to 28% from the current 18%, a decision which could be taken as soon as next month. What has really upped the stakes here are recent GST notices to gaming companies, including one for 21,000 crore rupees to Gamescraft Technologies, all part of the GST probe agency's action against the entire online gaming industry in India. The agency is now hoping to recover a whopping 2.5 lakh crores in taxes. Well, we're going to continue tracking the story on Tech Today and Business Today TV. Do stay tuned for more.
From EVs to passion economy and the side hustle culture, gaming and the latest earbuds in the market. Have you enjoyed this show? You have to let us know on our social media handles. Even if you didn't like the show, let us know how we can get better. I'm your host Ayush Alavadi saying thank you so much for watching. Until next week, adios.
Can Taiwan defend itself against China? China did many military drills around Taiwan. If China decides to launch a full-blown military attack, its armed forces would dwarf Taiwan's. Here's China and Taiwan's military capabilities compared. Total active forces: China 20,35,000, Taiwan 1,69,000. Ground forces: China 9,65,000, Taiwan 94,000.